All right, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck. Welcome back to another stream with Captain Nabs here. We are back. It's been a while. We haven't done much lately with A Pilot's Life, but we're doing it now. I'm pretty happy to say it's been, like I said, it's been a while since I did a stream here on my Pilot's Life career. We finished off with Air Transat with what I called Season 4, and we're getting ready to start on Season 5 here. And for Season 5, I moved to a new carrier. I enjoyed flying for Transat, but I was getting a little bit tired of the aircraft, the 330 specifically that I was flying. It was really starting to wear on me. So we moved into a new aircraft. We moved to WestJet, where we're going to fly the 737. And the nice thing about flying for WestJet is it's a domestic carrier in Canada. So we're going to visit a bunch of places in Canada. We're also going to visit a bunch of places in America. So it's going to give me a very nice mix of flying in North America. No overseas stuff here with WestJet. I'm kind of happy about that. The overseas stuff was a bit of a chore to get done. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of stress with the Air Transat A330 because as often as not, I found it wouldn't work for me properly. So I've moved on, and we're going to fly the rugged and reliable PMDG NGXU in the WestJet colors. So, welcome aboard for a new season, Season 5 of A Pilot's Life. So here we are with today's flight. It's a pretty short, simple flight. I've been trying to get it done actually for a little while here, Vancouver to Calgary. I was hoping to have some ATC online one of these days to do it, but it just seems like every time that there is an event in either of these areas, they are days that I am unavailable, generally working. So I've given up. I've bitten the bullet. We're going to do it today. We're going to hope some ATC maybe shows up. I'm kind of keeping my fingers crossed that maybe somebody will show up, but if not, it's going to be just a short but beautiful flight across the mountains from Vancouver to Calgary. About 1 hour of flying time, so this stream shouldn't take more than about 2 hours in total to get done, including all of the setup and taxi out and everything else. So that's what we're doing today. Just to give you as well a little bit of an update to my Pilot's Life career here. We did generate a new schedule for WestJet. It took me quite a while to come up with something I was happy with, but this one's quite a variety of flying, so I'm pretty happy with it. We are based in Vancouver now, so you are going to see a lot of Vancouver, which is good because the FS Dream Team scenery in Vancouver is really nice, and the scenery in Vancouver is really nice. But you're going to see me visit a lot of different places. We're going to go to Calgary, Winnipeg, back to Vancouver. Then we're going to do a long run to Toronto, down to Orlando, and Orlando back to Vancouver. That's going to be a long slog. And then a quick Prince George, up to Prince George, down to Puerto Vallarta, Vancouver, and then another Puerto Vallarta turn. It's a beautiful place to go, and this time of year we're all thinking about going there, even though COVID prevents it. Let's not talk about the politicians that are not going there. From Puerto Vallarta, we go back through Victoria up to Vancouver, and then another Winnipeg to Phoenix to Vancouver turn. One thing I do like about working for WestJet is this triangle schedule thing that I've got going on, rather than just always out and back, out and back, out and back, out and back. Visiting multiple airports away from home base in one go. Go to Calgary, then go to Winnipeg, and then come back to home base at Vancouver. So I like these kind of triangle flights where it's a little bit more variety. Visit a few more places instead of every second airport being home base. You get a little tired of home base after a while. It's not that it's a terrible place to fly here, but just I want to visit more and more airports. I want to see more and more things. So that's what I'm kind of hoping for. So yeah, that's what we're up against here. So let's get this show on the road here. As you can see, I've got my WestJet 737 booted up. We're at Gate 16 on the south side of Vancouver, and we really have not done anything to get this party started. It is night, and some of you are probably saying, hey, wait a second, it's night. It's really early morning in Vancouver, so we're doing the early morning flight from Vancouver over to Calgary. It will probably be sun up in the next 40 minutes or so, so most of this flight is going to be, especially once we get airborne, it's going to be in daylight hours, so hopefully it won't be too dark in the stream for you guys. I really don't like it when it gets too dark. I don't like streaming at night because it's so hard to see what's going on. But I wanted to get this stream started. This was the only time I really had to go do this for like a week or two, so we're going to get this started. So let's do this. Let's get this airplane turned on. The first thing you're going to need is some battery power. Thank you. And let me guess, my thrust levers are all the way forward because I was flying a different aircraft yesterday. Yeah. There we go. Alright, so we got the GPU on as well. And let's get the dome light on first of all so we can see what we're doing here. There we go. Hey, look at that. Let's get the emergency lights on. And just make sure that we do have the position lights on. Positions are on steady, and that's about all we really need just to start these IRSs aligning. And while we're up here, we can quickly check the clackers. Check that the CVR does activate, the light goes out. That's about all we really need to start. The FO is going to take care of most of the overhead panel for us. So as always, FS2 crew is providing my FO. The only thing I need to get this working here, I'm going to need some panel lighting. And this is my FS2 crew window right here. It's pretty dark right now because it needs panel lighting. So if we turn main panel up past 50%, it'll activate some night lighting on there, which makes it just a little bit easier to see what's going on there. There we go. I'm going to hide this away because you guys don't need to see this really. The gear should be down, not up. Alright, and everything's going to slowly come to life in the 737. Before we do anything else, as always, we're going to get the ground servicing started here, because that always takes a little while. It's been a while since anybody loaded anything on this airplane, so let's request some catering as well. And let's just pull up the FS2 crew here and just make sure we're happy with everything here. We are at gate, SDX, yes, takeoff thrust. We're going to do a D-rated takeoff today with assumed temperature. We'll do flaps 10 for takeoff. No ETOPS required. Bleeds on. Anti-ice is... Anti-ice will probably be required. Let's see here. I was looking at the weather in Vancouver, and it looks like it's pretty marginal here. Yeah, it's a quarter mile in fog, actually, now, on the latest report. Freezing fog, no less. So we are going to need the wing and engine anti-ice required. And we may need to pay a little visit to the de-icing bay. That's something I don't think I've done for quite a while, so let's do that. So that's good. So let's get this pre-flight started.
Let's get set up.
Thank you. Let us do that. Alright, so he's going to focus on doing all the internals and all the checklists. And what we are going to focus on is, of course, programming the FMS as always. And thanks, buddy. Okay, so if I can just turn on, like I always have, my FMS down here in the corner. And I'm going to move this one. There we go. So you can see what I'm doing on the screen here. Something like that. Alright. And we're going to go ahead and get this started. The air rack is current. Perfect. Let's go ahead and get a GPS coordinate. It's already been loaded. Load it into our IRS. And start typing here. Vancouver, Calgary. Flight number today, I believe, is WestJet 135. I can double check my flight plan here. Yes, we are WestJet 135. I could do the flight plan request. Honestly, it's a pretty simple flight today. Let's just check the winds here. So the winds are showing... Oh, I pulled up the wrong airport. It's not actually quarter mile in fog. It's a chance of fog this morning, but it hasn't actually formed yet. It's 1 degree in Vancouver. So maybe we don't need the anti-ice after all. View at 3,000. We don't need it as long as it doesn't come in. So let's quickly change that before I forget. I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong weather. I was flying somewhere else last night, and it got me thinking about it. So let's get rid of the anti-ice for now. Alright, so the winds are out of the east. So we're going to plan departure on 8 right in Vancouver. On the Vancouver 1 departure. Perfect. After Vancouver 1, we're doing a fairly simple route. If you see at the bottom of the flight, bottom of the screen there, I have to open some doors for catering here. Doors. Let's open the right side doors for catering. Where was I here? Okay, yeah, so flight plan, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see it there. It's add 6. Can't spell. Add 6. Chili. And then we do Q983 to NORAD. Q983 NORAD. And then the arrival, which is the IGVEP arrival. Calgary, what's the flight plan saying here? Planned arrival 35 right in Calgary. I'm going to say 35 left for arrival. IGVEP 635 both. NORAD transition. Activate and execute. And the flight plan looks good. ZFW, today we're going to grab it from our SimBrief flight plan. Our estimated ZFW is going to be 125.4. Our reserves, using Edmonton as an alternate, and it's supposed to be a beautiful day over on the prairies. 31 and 21 is, we'll say 32 and 22 is 54. Cost index today of 9. 370 the altitude. Now I missed that beep summoning me. And an average wind today of 322 at 49. And I do have the downlink winds available. We'll get them once we get up in the air, I think, here. N1 limit. We're going to do a takeoff 1, climb 1. Please use the refueling system to refuel the aircraft. That's what I want. Okay, good. So fuel for Calgary, we're looking for, well, we're really not looking for that much fuel above what we have already here. 13.5, we'll round it up to 14. It really is not a long trip, I guess, so. That's with 15 minutes of extra fuel. It's not a whole lot of extra fuel, but that's what we're going for. So we'll go ahead and put 14,000 pounds in. And let's see if we've got some takeoff numbers. We're going to do a flap 10 takeoff. CFG will load automatically, and we do get takeoff numbers 35, 36, and 43. And there we go. We're already set up on the FMS here. 143 is the final number there, so we'll set that on the MCP as well. $143, and I don't have my charts right in front of me, so let's just pull them up over here. Really easy to pull up. Let's just mark a few things that we're going to need. What we really want is the airport info, however, because that's going to have the runway heading, which is what we should initially set, of 083. So that's what we're going to set here. The other thing you're going to see on the Vancouver 1 departure, the SID, is to maintain 7,000. Maintain 7,000 is the first word there, so 7,000 it is. And now we've got her all set up, I think, here. At least across the MCP. FO should be doing most of the rest of this. Let's just see, what do we got for an altimeter setting here in Vancouver? We get 3038 by the looks of it. $3038. Catering's done. I can close those doors as well. Let's do that.
Here's some water bottles for you. Security and safety checks are complete. Are we okay to start boarding?
Go for it.
Thanks. Clear to board.
Alright, so catering's done. We can close the catering doors. And we can call for boarding. Request boarding. Alright, flight control, electrical fuel. We'll reset that for now. 038. Let's get that flight director up. Test the Christmas tree. God damn, if there's one thing about the 737, it is just full of tons of lights. Yellow, green, red, blue, all the colors of the rainbow. So we got RTO selected.
Okay, I'm back from the walk around. Everything looks good.
Thank you. Alright, so as of yet we don't have any ATC, so Unicom it is. And pardon me while I just move my armrest so I can see that we do have COM 1 up ready to go. Got 2000 set on the transponder. And lower panel lighting should also be on, although it should hopefully be daylight soon enough. Windows look awfully foggy, but I'm going to guess it's just... We'll need to get some power on and get the... He's got to get the window heat on. The window heat's not even on. Let's get the window heat on. So literally, we want to go to it at the same time. That should hopefully get rid of some of that fog. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and shut off the FMS there, because you probably don't need to see it anymore. We can also pull up our charts on here. Use airports from FMS, complete. And let's edit the clip for Vancouver to also include the SID, which is the Vancouver 1. There we go. We gotta wait for this guy to finish his pre-flight procedures. If I try to get him to do anything right now, he's gonna be a pain in the ass about it. He really, truly will. But what we could do is we can look over here. We should, I thought, see the passengers boarding. No? I thought you were supposed to see GSX Level 2 for free at the FS Dream Team airports. Apparently not. Oh well. Alright, and we're getting ready here. Just waiting for the FO to do a whole bunch of switch flipping. And then we're going to be good to get this show on the road. Alright, one thing we can also do while we're waiting here. What else can we do while we're waiting here? So we got our plates ready to go here. Here come the people. It's a little bit odd because there's clipping going on, but if you look carefully, you'll see people coming and walking in the door of the airplane there. There they come. It's a really neat effect. I don't know if it's quite worth buying GSX Level 2 to get it everywhere, especially because 90% of the jet bridges you can't really see through. Not really 90%, but a lot of jet bridges you can't see through. When you do have a nice glass jet bridge, it's beautiful to watch these people walking down, but is it worth $22 to see this for about 10 seconds? Not even. Each person, maybe 3 seconds that you see each person there. And it's not that it's a bad product per se, it's just one where, you know... But I originally said that about level 1 of GSX, and I am so super happy with it. I've more than gotten my money's worth out of it. So would I get my money's worth out of the second level 2 of GSX? And the trouble now is that with the new sim, with Microsoft Flight Simulator, I question whether anything for the old sim is really worth it. I'm going to slowly transition myself out of the old sim. I like it a lot right now. I like P3D a lot right now because it still lets me fly these airplanes, these beautifully crafted tube liners, with highly detailed systems. And that's something that's missing from... That's something that's missing from Microsoft Flight Simulator, obviously, right now. As these aircraft start to launch in Microsoft Flight Simulator, I'm going to find myself spending less and less time in the P3D environment. But for now, it's definitely going to be where we spend our pilot's life career. So, looks like he's done. Pre-flight checklist.
Let me finish my pre-flight procedure first.
Oh, he's not done. Sorry. Can't see your arms because you're invisible, so I don't know if you're done yet. I really don't. I guess he had to do the walk around, and I made him do all sorts of other stuff in here, so. Just check that oil quantity. Oil quantity looks good. Hydraulic oxygen quantity. Oxygen quantity looks good. Everything's looking pretty good so far. Just waiting for my FO to finish and be ready so we can get out of here. Because we're already almost done boarding. So I tell you what, he's got all those things on. I'm going to go ahead and fire up the AP right now. Fuel truck is gone, right? I'm pretty sure they finished a while ago. Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they finished a while ago, so... There we go. Now I think he's ready. You know he's ready when you see the words in your FS2 crew window here. Pre-flight checklist.
Pre-flight checklist. Oxygen.
Tested 100%.
Tested 100%. Navigation transfer and display switches. Normal, auto. Window heat, on. Pressurization mode selector, auto. Flight instruments.
Heading 350. Altimeter 3038.
Checked. Parking brake.
Set.
Engine start levers.
Cut off.
Pre-flight checklist complete.
Are you ready for the takeoff briefing? Are you ready for the departure briefing?
Go ahead.
Okay, so we are at gate 16 today. Actually, let's do this. Before we do this, we're just going to pull up the parking positions. There we go. Thinking. Alright. So we're parked over here at gate 16 today. So we're going to taxi from gate 16 to depart off runway 8 right. So down here, so we're going to taxi, I'm going to propose to taxi out Golf Hotel Lima, crossing runway 13 to runway 08 right for departure. The departure is the Vancouver 1 departure, 10-3 Delta, and effective on the 5th of November of 2020. 100 mile safe is 12,800 feet. Non-jets, jet aircraft use noise abatement procedure 1 or 2. And we always use number 2. Refer to 10-4 noise abatement procedure for additional requirements. And there's the diagram. Looks like straight ahead off 8 right, and we'll read the text anyways. 08 right, climb heading 083 or is assigned by ATC. Maintain 7,000 or is assigned. Expect radar vectors to file assigned route and clearance to flight. Planned altitude flight level 5 minutes after departure. Most other places it's usually 10 minutes after departure, but with the amount of mountains around here, they don't want you staying level down low too long, so 5 minutes. Alright, that's basically it. If immediate return, we'll just come right back here. Fuel, we need 14,000, that's looking good. And weather, right now it's okay. There was a chance of some fog forming, but it doesn't look like it's forming. To me, are all those jet bridges like way up in the air? What the heck is that about? Is there like a second set of jet bridges there? That's really odd. I never looked that way and I just noticed that. Way up in the air. What is up with that? Strange. At least our jet bridge is fine. Any questions?
No questions.
Alright, so get the APU on the bus.
Here's the load sheet for you.
Thank you. Just gotta talk to the ground guys. Cockpit to ground. Cockpit to ground. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Please disconnect the GPU.
Roger. Disconnecting the GPU.
Alright, so he's going to fix our ZFW and our CFG.
Mind your leg, please.
And we get a slight adjustment to our speeds with the corrected weight. Now it's 141. He says mind your leg because he's actually adjusting the trim wheel for takeoff properly. We're looking for 5.56. There you go, 5 and a bit. That's about right there. Don't go too far.
Captain, the GPU is disconnected.
Thank you.
Verify takeoff speeds.
Welcome aboard our flight today. In preparation for departure, please ensure that your seatbelts are fastened, tray tables are up and locked, and your
Looks like they're done loading bags, so I don't know what we're quite waiting for here from GSX. There's a few things going on in the airplane, but we should be just about ready to go here. What's open still? Cargo's open, forward entry's open. Just waiting for it to get unlocked here. While we're waiting for it to get unlocked, actually, let's do this before I have a chance to forget. Make sure we're on the current flight page. And we might as well just start the flight. Start the logging now. We're about to push back from the gate. There you go. Before start, checklist to the line.
Before start checklist to the line. Fuel 14.0,000 pounds. Pumps on. Passenger signs on. Windows.
Locked.
Locked. MCP.
Speed 141, heading 083, altitude 7,000.
Checked. Takeoff speeds.
V1 132, VR 133, V2 141.
Checked. CDU pre-flight.
Complete.
Completed. Rudder and aileron trim.
Set and checked.
Taxi and takeoff briefing.
Complete.
Before start checklist completed to the line.
Hey guys, all passengers are on board. Are we clear to close?
Go for it. Yes. Yes, please. Good to close. Good to close. I don't know what to say. Hold on, let me check my documentation and see if they've got a... That's number one. Is there a specific phrase I have to use? Honestly, sometimes it's a little too picky. Thanks, it will be a short taxi.
Thanks. See you out there.
There, now I got it. The thing about FS Crew 2 is you've got to just know the phrases, and you've got to learn the phrases. So, what are we waiting for now from... Waiting for your action close, left forward. Oh, okay. Whoa. No, we don't need de-icing.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push completed and brakes set.
Alright, so now he's got that going. There goes the bridge and everything. And it looks like there's actually an aircraft behind us. I don't know if he's supposed to be on a gate or not. I'm a little curious.
Hello, Captain. We're ready for pushback.
We got a lot of departures going on from Vancouver now. Alright, well, lots of departures. I don't know who that is or whether they're pushed back from the gate. I never saw them before, so I don't know if they're pushed back from the gate. It looks like they're stopped there, so I wonder if they, in their scenery, that is the gate. So we may have to change our plan here. Before start, checklist below the line.
Flight deck door closed and locked. Anti-collision light on. Before start checklist complete.
So we're going to do a quick edit. I was going to just do it the easy way, but we're going to do a quick edit here. Yeah, we can get around behind this guy. We just have to probably do this. So we're just going to go... We're going to get him to push us back over there, and then we can get around behind this guy, no problem.
Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until bypass bid and brakes set. Release parking brakes. Commencing push.
Alright, here we go. Brakes are off. We're on our way. Start sequence is 1, then 2.
Check.
Start engine 1.
Starting 1.
We now request your full attention as the flight attendants demonstrate the safety features of this aircraft. When the seatbelt sign illuminates, you must fasten your seatbelt. Insert the flight model
Got the valve, got some acceleration. There's NG and N2 acceleration.
upper portion of the buckle. We suggest that you keep your seatbelt fastened throughout the flight as we may experience turbulence. There are several emergency exits on this aircraft.
Valves opening.
Doors can be opened by moving the handle in the direction of the arrow. Each
We
door
need
is
you
equipped with an
derising.
inflatable slide, which may also be attached and used as a life raft. Oxygen and air pressures are always being
Kaboom.
monitored.
That tongue dries right through the airplane.
Will automatically appear in front of you. To start the flow of oxygen, pull the mask towards you. Place it firmly over your nose and mouth and secure the elastic band behind your head and breathe normally. Although the bag does not inflate, oxygen is flowing to the mask. If you are traveling with a child or someone who requires assistance, secure your mask on first and then
It's weird that all those bridges are so far up in the air. Those are not the right bridges because look, there's other bridges there.
In the event of an emergency, please assume the bracing position. Lean forward with your hands on top of your head and your elbows against your sides. Ensure your feet are flat on the floor.
Start engine 2.
Life vest is located in a pouch
Starting
under
to
your
set
seat or
parking
between the
brakes.
armrests. When instructed to do so, open the plastic pouch and remove the vest.
Park brake set.
Confirmation for good engine start. Your waist and adjust to the front.
And
To
2
adjust the
rotation.
vest, pull firmly on the red cord only when leaving the aircraft. If you need to refill the vest, blow it to the mouthpiece. Use the whistle and light to attract attention. Also, your seat bottom cushion can be used as a flotation device. Pull the cushion from the seat, slip your arms to the straps, and hug the cushion to your chest.
Fuel on.
We remind you that this is a non-smoking flight. Tampering
Valves
with,
open.
disabling, or destroying the smoke detectors located
Fuel
in the
flow.
lavatories is prohibited by law.
Light off.
You will find this and all other safety information in the card located in the seat pocket in front of you. We strongly suggest you read it before takeoff. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask one of our crew members. We wish you all an enjoyable flight.
Starter cutout.
Check. Looks like we have stable engine parameters. You guys are good to disconnect. Alright, so we're just waiting for these guys to do their thing. Looks like we timed our departure well for a nice sunrise over the mountains here.
Left is clear. Right is clear.
Alright, he's gone. Flaps 10.
Flaps 10.
Flight control check.
Vancouver traffic, Air 1185, Airline 08.
There we go, 135. Before taxi checklist.
Before taxi checklist. Generators. On. Overheat. On. Anti-ice. Off. Isolation valve. Auto. Engine start switches. Continuous. Recall. Checked. Auto brake. RTO. Engine start levers.
Idle detent.
Flight controls.
Checked.
Dispatch clearance.
Received. Checked.
Checked. Before taxi checklist complete.
Clear on the left.
Clear right.
Set taxi light to on.
Taxi light on.
I guess it helps if I take the parking brake off. There we go. Vancouver traffic, good morning. WestJet 135 is taxiing from gate 16 for departure runway 08 right. So I think that's the Air Canada flight that just landed there, I think. And there was one other text pilot that had just called and said they were taxiing for departure for 8 right, so we'll just keep an eye out for everybody as we go here. Uncontrolled airport. Broadcast your intentions. Broadcast your intentions. Make sure you're watching for the people.
Canada 1185, taxi through gate 39 via Echo Golf 8 right.
Alright, fortunately it looks like the fog did not settle in, so we won't need the de-ice this morning after all.
Scuba traffic, good morning, Air Canada 7219, gate 62, ready to push, and back over to you.
I don't see anybody else right now along our taxi route. Let's see if it stays that way, but I think we're good. Busy morning in Vancouver, though, I tell ya. 4 or 5 departures here just as the sun comes up. It's probably about as many as there are in the real world these days. Alright. We are not looking to turn on hotel, I don't believe. We need Lima. Oh, we need Lima. Yeah, we are. This is Lima. So this is where we need to turn here. Came out golf. This is Lima, turn here, cross runway 13. Vancouver traffic, WestJet 135 is crossing runway at 1331. Set strobe light to on. Set strobes to on.
Strobes coming on.
Clear on the left.
Clear right.
Air
Set
Canada
strobes to off.
1185, pushing Captain
Strobes
Nab with
going
his
off.
flight to Calgary.
Thank you very much. Such a friendly place here on the VATSIM network. Now I have to figure out who that guy was. Who was Air Canada 1185? Oh, that was Rick Inferno. Thank you, Rick Inferno. Before takeoff checklist.
Before takeoff checklist. Flaps.
Flaps 10, green light.
Stabilizer trim.
Set and checked.
Before takeoff checklist complete.
Did turn the strobes off? We did. That was Rick Inferno. He's one of the people that I've actually met through Twitch many times and run into throughout our VATSIM career, so it's nice to see him flying as well. And for those of you that do watch my Twitch channel every once in a while, if he's flying and I'm not, his videos will be hosted on my channel as well. So I encourage you to watch him. He's done a lot more flying than I have. I never seem to have the time anymore. And he does pretty nice videos with a lot of great airplanes, so I encourage you to check out Rick Inferno on Twitch as well.
Cabin is secure.
Check. Vancouver traffic, WestJet 135 is taking position runway 8 right for departure, Vancouver 1 departure. Clear on the left.
Clear right.
Before takeoff procedure.
Check. Ready to go.
Check. Auto throttle armed. Lights, camera, and action. Takeoff.
Check.
The traffic here, Canada 7290 heavy is taxiing to runway 08 right. Altimeter is
Check.
3037 on Juliet and crossing 28 on to 4308 by very fast.
Z1.
Rotate. Nice and great.
Gear up.
Vancouver traffic.
Set speed 220.
This is the VSA 0822 Heavy. I'll be taxiing to runway 08 right
0 set.
via Lima.
Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
Flaps 1.
Flaps 1.
Flaps up.
Flaps up.
Select Command A.
Command A.
There we go, Command. Now that we're airborne and we're safely through the noise abatement altitude of 3000, we go direct to our first fix of VATSIM. Direct VATSIM, confirm execute, execute. Go ahead to LNAV mode. We can even put it into VNAV as well now. After takeoff checklist.
After takeoff checklist. Engine bleeds. On. Packs. Button. Landing gear. Up and off. Flaps. Up. No lights. After takeoff checklist. complete.
Traffic here, Canada
Checked.
7219 Lima crossing 31.
And away we go off towards the mountains. What a-
Release the cabin.
Go for it.
Okay.
Bring up the terrain view here because that's what we're going to really need today.
Set to level.
I guess we don't need to level at 7,000. Let's go ahead and set our cruise altitude now since we don't have any ATC still of 370. Short flight but a high cruise, but we don't have a particularly heavy load today, especially without a whole lot of fuel on board either. So 370 is very possible for this aircraft. So there you go, 370 is set. We're going to just keep on climbing. We'll be leveling 40 miles at the present rate, but at 10,000 we'll pitch down and accelerate a little bit more. There we go, there goes Vancouver behind us. Eastern parts of Vancouver here. And off into the mountains we head. And there are all the mountains north of Vancouver. The reason why you don't do too much maneuvering north of the Vancouver International Airport is there's some high terrain just north of the field, and it just keeps getting higher. Here comes the 10,000 mark. It's a beautiful day to go sailing out over these mountains. Look at this. There's one really nice tall mountain off there in the distance. 10,000s. He's got the lights. Taxi light as well, thank you.
Ready to release the cabin.
Go for it.
Okay.
Looks like a beautiful morning. Oh, there we go. That right there is the that'll be the screenshot for the title card right there. What a beautiful morning. Or maybe something like that. playing with the cameras a little bit. I do love Chase Plane. It's got some nice powerful camera options when you pull them up. There we go. Nice. And anyways, even at cost index 9, climbing at 283 knots, not a particularly fast climb speed for a 737, but it's okay. I'm going to scale these mountains. It's going to be a pretty quick flight. I don't have a whole lot to yak on about today, I don't think. Really, other than, first of all, just to wish everyone a happy new year. I hope everyone's happy and healthy as can be expected in this new year, and as happy as can be expected. I know there's been some unpleasantness the last week, and I really just don't want to talk about that because I want to keep this aviation themed. But wow, the only thing I'll say is 2021, didn't think we were going to be able to top 2020 as far as crazy messed up years go. 2021 in the first 7 days just turned that idea on its head and just said no, watch what else we can do. You thought the world was crazy before, watch what else we can do. Anyways, I'd like to keep my ranting relatively flight simulator themed. I'd like to also thank everyone who keeps on supporting the channel, who keeps on supporting me on Twitch and on YouTube, because both of them are turning out to be way more popular than I had ever originally conceived, and I've enjoyed it a lot. I'm happy to see that people are getting a lot of use out of the videos. I think the FS Economy tutorial videos, especially, that I put out there, have really overwhelmed me with how much popularity they have. Some people posted them somewhere. Some people really liked them, cross-posted them somewhere, I don't know where, but got me a whole ton of views. And I'm not someone who's necessarily chasing views, but I just want to say that thank you to whoever did that. And I'm glad that those of you that watch the videos found them useful.
Transition.
There you go, standard set. I'm just grateful that that I can contribute to the community, that you guys are getting so much benefit out of these videos, and I hope that it's encouraging a lot of people to get started in FS Economy, because it's a great use of Microsoft Flight Simulator, and it's free. So you can't go wrong there. Now, speaking of FS Economy, I've had a few people ask me in the last little while what I think about the latest online immersive flying community experience, which is the SkyPark from Parallel 42, the guys that made Chase Plane, among other things. So, first off, full disclosure, I don't have the SkyPark. I've looked at it. Now, for those of you that are unaware, the SkyPark is basically, it's a bit like FS Economy. It's a bit of a mission-driven system. One thing's for sure, the interface is a lot slicker than FS Economy. FS Economy's interface is a little bit dated. It's all done basically through the website, through the FS Economy website. And that's fine, because, you know what, at the end of the day, it's a free system. It's an incredibly complicated, vast amount of information available on FS Economy. When you start to add up all the different airports, all the different aircraft, all the different users, all the goods they've purchased, all the assignments that are available simultaneously in the network, the amount of information out there in the FS Economy world is absolutely stunning. When you start to really think about all the airports in the world and how much information is available for all these different assignments and people and aircraft at each one, it's a stunning amount of data that's available. So, you know, the web interface is probably one of the easiest ways to make it very accessible to a lot of people at the same time. And again, it's a volunteer organization. Let's just get that anti-ice on for a few minutes there. Nope, that's not it. Turning off the hydraulics, that's the wrong switches. Those are the switches I need. Yeah, it's an incredible amount of information that is stored on that in that system, and it is probably one of the easiest ways to access it through a web database. Certainly, it's a very easy to maintain system. You don't have to be forcing updates onto other users. You don't have to be compliant with multiple platforms. The great thing about the World Wide Web is at least the theory behind it is that it's a universal standard that regardless of what platform you use, whether you're an Apple user, whether you're a Windows user, whether you're surfing it on Android, you know, websites should be mostly platform agnostic. They should not know what platform you're on, and they just simply display the information, and your platform takes it and interprets it, displays it on their platform. That's the way it should function in theory anyways. It doesn't always quite work that way, but that's the way it should function. Parallel 42 is quite the opposite. It's not really web-based. It is a network-based idea. Of course, you're participating in a world where you're transporting cargo and moving aircraft around this world with lots of other people, but it's done through applications on your local system. And the one thing I'll say about the applications is they do look very slick, and basically all the interaction happens through one device called the SkyPad, which is basically, it's a tablet that has a number of different applications that serve different purposes for your career, tracking your bank account, tracking assignments, marketplaces, that sort of thing. So they have a very slick looking interface. You know, the simulated EFB is great, but the other neat thing about it is that when you start doing it and making it look like a tablet program, what you can do then, of course, is you can create a standalone app. And I believe, I'm not actually sure if they've done it or not yet, but I know they're planning on doing it, is releasing it to the various mobile platforms, Android and iPad and Apple, and let you actually access all this information from the tablet that most people have, or even a smartphone, so that you can access all this information. It looks just like the tablet on your that you're running on the desktop. It's the same interactivity, but you can do it then outside of your computer, so you're not bogging your computer down and I hate to say wasting screen real estate, but at the end of the day, screen real estate is precious. If you can have it on a tablet next to your computer, and you can be looking and surfing through your through your world, through your next assignments while you're still flying the previous assignment. So I think it's a really neat concept. I really like it. Whether or not it's worth the money, I don't know. It's a little bit, to me, it's a little bit pricey to start out. It's 42 Australian dollars. It's not ridiculous, but it's kind of getting to the threshold where I definitely have to think twice before I run out and give it a try. It was something that I'm interested in. I would love to give it a try, but for 42 bucks, I'm not sure if I'm really ready. I wish they would have like a free trial period, give you like 30 days. Here, try it, see if you like it. If you don't like it, too bad, and then don't pay for it, cancel it, and that's fine. I really like anywhere that gives you something like this. If you're going to outlay a fair amount for software, it's good to kind of give people a preview. So there's the initial $42. Then there's also going to be eventually a subscription model where there's going to be a periodic updates and missions in the world conducted through the SkyPad, conducted through the SkyPark. And in order to support that, of course, ongoing effort, then they're going to have a subscription level service as well, whether that's above and beyond the $42 you've already paid up front. And that kind of also gets me a little bit. If you're going to pay the $42 up front and then you're going to pay month by month, I certainly hope they're not going to be charging very much month by month. It quickly becomes an expensive proposition. And I don't know if it's worth it or not, but I haven't tried it. I would like to. It looks like quite a lot of fun. There's some really neat concepts. There's one really neat concept to the SkyPark that I really think is great, and that is kind of the I don't even know how they put it, but it's basically it's karma. You can go and choose to do illicit missions. You're basically a pilot working for an organization, but if you want to, on the side, you can do missions for an illicit organization as well, and you'll get a reputation, a positive, negative, honorable, dishonorable reputation, and whether or not you get certain assignments will depend on your honor overall. The more dishonorable you get, the better probably illicit assignments you'll get, but then the less the company will trust you and provide you with good legal assignments. So it's an interesting take on it. It's something that, you never really think too much about good and evil when you're flying airplanes, or legal versus illegal. You just try and do everything legally, but it provides an interesting idea anyways. I read about the concept, I said, I like that. That's something new and different that has not been tried really in this space. We've got tons of people trying to set up aviation companies and online aviation networks, but the whole concept of karma, of good and evil, and having a reputation, whether or not you can get good, bad assignments, it's an interesting concept. We can probably turn all that anti-ice off now. So that's definitely something that finally released about a year after they'd originally planned it, I think. But I think they, after their initial announcement, they got a lot of feedback and tweaked and changed a lot of stuff. So I'm curious to see how it works overall. Probably not going to outlay money for it right now. Parallel 42, if you're listening and you want me to do a review, I'd gladly do it. But being just the post-Christmas season, of course, there's a little bit of the financial hangover, and especially because at the end of the day, I also ended up needing a new computer. My laptop, which has done so much of the work producing all these videos in this channel, it was really on its last legs and unfortunately needed to be replaced. It wasn't really an option, so I ended up spending a fair bit of money right after Christmas replacing my laptop. So all my disposable income for the foreseeable future went to that. Now the other thing, of course, I could suggest as well to those of you fans out there watching is if you have software that you'd like to see me try out. I haven't made my first got my first payment from YouTube or Twitch yet, but once I do start to get payments a little bit regularly, hopefully from Twitch and YouTube, and I'm not expecting any great amount of money, but maybe just enough to offset a little bit of spending every month in this hobby. If you guys want to see things specifically reviewed, I would certainly be willing to consider suggestions on software that you'd like to see me purchase and review, and using that income, because basically you guys are generating that income. You guys that watch these channels and are the ones that are generating that income for me. So if you would like to have some say in what comes out on the channel next, you know, I personally, there's things that I like that I want to purchase and that I have purchased, and then I've reviewed some of them. And I'm going to try and do more reviews going forward, especially in the FS 2020 world. I think P3D has been reviewed to death, and most people know what all the add-ons in P3D are generally about. But going forward, I'd like to spend a lot more time in Microsoft Flight Simulator and reviewing some of the other add-ons I've found for Microsoft Flight Simulator. Determine if they're worth it for you or not, because that's one thing that oftentimes you don't find a lot of review videos in this. Some of the more major mainstream products, you do find the review videos. You find the you know, like the major aircraft, you generally find reviews about that, and certainly very very popular airports, you'll often find reviews about that. But there's tons of software out there in the P3D library, payware software, that's never been reviewed once, that people have barely even scratched the surface of. The only thing you really have to go on when you're when you're trying to decide if this is a worthwhile investment for you is you know, is oftentimes just a trailer from the developer, and that's it. And oftentimes that's all you have out there to sort of, you know, decide if it's worth it. With airports, the trailer is kind of key, because at the end of the day, with airports, 95% of what you're paying for is really just a look. It's just, you know, are the textures good enough quality and that sort of thing. So you can often get a sense just from looking at videos and pictures whether something is worth the price being charged for, whether the textures are high enough quality. Things that have more depth, utilities and aircraft, are a lot harder to judge just from pictures alone. The pictures are often very nice for the airplanes. You want to see that they look good in the exterior views. You want to know that they're detailed. You can see the people moving there. Everything's the right shape. The textures are high enough quality. You want all of that when you're dealing with an aircraft. But you also want to know about the system's fidelity. How does it operate? Are there bugs in it? Can you run it, or is it there's so many bugs you can't even run it? So with aircraft and utilities, I find reviews are often a necessity, and that's something that is often missing in the flight sim world. So I'm going to try to put a few more of them out there. I don't have an infinite amount of money to spend, so it's going to be, and nor do I have an infinite amount of time to put together videos, so there's going to be limits to how much I can put out there, but I would like to put more reviews out there going forward. So if you guys want to see something, you can drop a comment to any of my channel videos. I generally respond to all the comments in my YouTube channel. Or you can try to wait for a Twitch stream and comment live on the Twitch stream. I am going to be trying to get back into it. I know the last 3 months I didn't do that much. The last month or so I really didn't do that much Twitch streaming. I really didn't do that much putting videos out there. Really, I was just taking a pleasant break from it. The holidays were a little bit hectic. I felt like the last schedule I did in a pilot's life, I almost felt like it was grueling. I got very tired of it. I just wanted it to end. So I took a nice little hiatus there. I'm happy to say I'm back, and I'm going to try and do these at least once every probably 2 weeks for going forward. The other problem I have right now is, of course, under the current circumstances of the outside world, my kids are home 24/7. School has been moved online for the foreseeable future, at least the next several weeks, and oftentimes I would try to stream during the day when everyone's at school and the house is quiet and I can have time to myself. So now that that's not happening, I don't know when streaming will happen sometimes, but I will try to get it a little bit more regularly than it has in the past. Now, one thing I would like to say as well about Microsoft Flight Simulator, and I know I probably talk about it a lot, but I think it's a good sim with a lot of potential, and I think Asobo is moving in the right direction, and you can stop me if you disagree with me. But they are moving in the right direction, albeit slowly, and I wish they would sort of shift their resources and start doing it a little bit faster. I'm happy with what they've done a lot so far. It's getting better with every iteration, with every update, and they are doing frequent updates. This is the first thing. They are doing frequent updates, which is great. They are fixing bugs on a fairly regular basis. There's still lots of them built into the software. I discovered a new one the other day where in the TBM, nav mode only works if the autopilot's engaged. If you try to engage nav mode with the flight director without the autopilot, the nav mode just wings level and doesn't do anything. It's only with the autopilot engaged that nav mode actually works, which is kind of weird. It shouldn't be that way, but it is. But yeah, there's more bugs to be found, but there is a constant stream of fixes slowly coming and tweaks coming. They're not perfect by any means, but they're definitely getting better. My only issue is that I think they're spending too much time on content updates. They're already talking about their next big content update coming up in a few weeks, which is going to be Great Britain, the UK, and I'm all for seeing content updates, but I really wish that they would shift more of the team away from scenery and onto the backbone, the bones of the sim, the aerodynamics, the weather. The weather's not bad, but oftentimes it glitches out and just doesn't do anything properly. It loses connection, and then everything is just, it's clear skies and calm winds. So I wish they would do a little bit more to improve the connectivity. The multiplayer aspect seems finicky at best. And of course the default airplanes have tons and tons of glitches that need to be fixed. And these are the things that really Asobo you need to focus on. Don't worry too much about the scenery. The world you've created is already 10 times better than anything we've seen before, I think. Possibly with the exception of X-Plane, which I'm not really... But as far as I'm concerned, compared to the P3D and the FSX platform, the world you've created is 10 times, 100 times better than what you've had before. So I really want to see you focus more on the mechanics of the simulator itself, because there's tons and tons of developers out there that want to work in this sim and will gladly create tons and tons of fantastic scenery, great airports, much better than the airports you're creating, with no personal disrespect, but the airports you're creating still look, even the better ones still look fairly generic. We have dozens and dozens of fantastic high quality scenery developers that will create incredibly detailed models of all these airports. So don't waste your time doing that. Don't waste your time on creating airports that these developers are already working on. Support the developers, create the platform for the developers, work on that SDK, get that SDK working, because we all want fantastic airplanes. We all want to fly the 737 in through the Microsoft Flight Simulator universe. We do, and you guys need to work harder to support the developers that are going to bring that there. The PMDGs, the Aerosofts, all the aircraft developers that are going to bring these high quality aircraft to that sim. I know they want to, and they're just chomping at the bit for you to open up enough of the sim and debug enough of it and make it work well enough to get it to make it usable. So Asobo, stop focusing so much on the scenery. Focus on the back end of the sim, the real bare mechanics of it, the SDK. Let people who have years and decades, some of them, of experience creating these fantastic scenery products work on the scenery. Leave it to the experts, and focus on really fixing the sim and making the planes super flyable. Appreciate what you've done. A lot of it looks really good, but at the same time, there's a lot still to be done. So I think you need to shift your resources to where they really need to be, which is on fixing some of the algorithms and the SDK within the sim. Alright, a quick shout out to Timber71, who is gifting me some who has gifted some subscriptions to my channel. So thank you so much, Timber, for supporting the channel. I do appreciate it. And I do appreciate anybody out there that supports the channel at all. Really, I'm out here and I'm streaming because I think people enjoy it. People enjoy watching it. I can't call him Timber71 apparently. But I'm happy to have people watch the channel, and I think it's you know, it gives me great joy to know that people are enjoying this. I wouldn't do this, certainly I wouldn't be doing this live on Twitch if I didn't think people were enjoying it along the way, so thanks. One thing I'm going to try and do a little bit more going forward is, in addition to posting like entire streams onto my YouTube channel, I'm going to try to take some of my more focused rants, like the one I just made about Asobo, and try to put out just separate short little videos on some of these more focused rants that people can just sort of skip to the interesting parts without having to watch the whole video. Relatively speaking, this is going to be a short one. I'm already thinking about, let's get ready to brief this descent because we're already approaching our top of descent, but I'm going to try to post little excerpts of good rants that I've done on my various videos here going forward for these Pilot's Life streams, especially because some of these legs are going to get longer. This one's pretty short. The next one, Winnipeg's, well, not too bad, but when I start doing the Toronto and Orlando legs from Vancouver, that's going to be some long streams. Alright, so let's start talking about our arrival into Calgary already, because we are already less than 80 miles from top of descent. So I'm just going to pull up some weather for Calgary. There we go. Winds variable at 2. Looks like clear skies. Beautiful day in Calgary. So no ATC online again, unfortunately. I was kind of hoping we'd get something, but we just don't seem to be lucking out this morning. It's unfortunate. Some weekend mornings you seem to get ATC here on the West Coast. This was not one of them. So be it. I know tomorrow afternoon they're having an event here. Sadly, of course, I've got to work, and this is always the way it seems to be working out lately. I was trying to hold out for an event because it's such a short flight. I figured I could get wall-to-wall ATC if I waited for an event, but all the events have perfectly conflicted with my work schedule, so it is what it is. Alright, so let's go ahead and chart clip. Let's go Calgary, and let's edit the clip. So we got pretty much calm winds, variable at 2, so I'm just going to plan the straight-in arrival, which was what was kind of indicated before. 3-5 left, and the ILS to runway 3-5 left. And I believe that's what I've got in the system already. Let's just check the FMS here and see what's in there. I guess we could have just checked on the route page, would have been just as easy. Alright, NORAD, IGVEP 6, 3-5 both, and then ILS 3-5 left. So we do have all that programmed in. One thing we're going to do before we do anything else here, actually, is we're going to go to the menu. We're going to go to performance. We're going to verify our performance. So one thing that it's very important to do this with, wow, this database is old. Doesn't even have 3-5 left. It calls it 3-4 still. Ouch. When you get landing numbers in the FMS here and you go, hey, what are the landing numbers for flap 30? Great, they're 141. All this is doing is giving you the appropriate speed. What it's not doing is calculating whether the runway is long enough. So that's pretty important to do. Calgary's got a pretty long runway, but we're going to still do it anyways. Shoot. I cleared it out by mistake there. You always want to check and make sure that you're going to have sufficient distance to land your aircraft on a given runway given the conditions today. So we're going to go try. We're going to go show keyboard. Zero slash zero. Nope. And actually what we're doing is we're doing the wrong thing. We're supposed to do en route. Dispatch is just making sure that sort of from a dispatch perspective the airport is sufficient, but what you want to do is the en route, which will give you a much more specific -7 burr. given the actual conditions and any aircraft failures and things like that. What's the actual landing distance? The dispatch distance is kind of a... I always like to do no credit for the reversers, and then the reversers are just like bonus if you can get away with it. We'll do the flap 30 landing. Air conditioning will be on, but the anti-ice I expect will be off. Brakes, we'll do auto brake too, and that reminds me, set it now. Here it is. And non-normal conditions, there are none. It's a normal landing. And then landing weight, 130. 130,000. Did the right number of zeros in there, right? Yeah, 130. Yep, good. And then once you got all the information in there, you can hit calculate. Landing distance given these parameters, 7,500, and the landing distance available, 12,000. So we got lots of room to land. All right. Are you ready for the approach briefing?
I'm ready for the brief.
Okay, let's go back to our charts. I have not been paid because there's a minimum payout. That's the reason why, Tim. Tim asked, he said he's been a subscriber for several months and I haven't been paid yet. There's a minimum payout before they'll actually pay me. So you have to have $100. You have to have a $100 balance in your account before they'll issue a payout. They won't issue a payout for every $5 that you earn on the network. So minimum of $100 before they'll pay out your subscription fees. So I'm getting there. I forget what I'm up to. Twitch is very annoying too. I'll say this about Twitch, their payout tracking is very poorly organized. So it's very hard to see how much sometimes you've made in certain months and past months and everything, and what your current actual balance owing is. YouTube is much more clear about how much you've made and how much they owe you. Twitch is very kind of hard to track. I don't even know precisely how much. It's been about $35 or $40 I think I've made so far. It's not been a whole lot, so it's going to be another probably 6 months before I get my first payout from them. I think my first YouTube payout will come first. But it's it's a little bit frustrating. They're not the most transparent in how much money they actually owe anybody, that's a little bit frustrating. Okay, so we're going to do this here. We've got Norette. Not that one, this one. We're going to do the legs on here. We've got... we're on our way to Norette. After that, we do Pipso, Amido at or above 14,000, Seedle at or above 13,000, and IGFEP, 230 knots below 13,000, Zugav above 12,000, where was I here? IGFEP, 230... Yeah, we did Zugav above 12,000, Irvug above 10,000, Vezka at 9,000 at 220 knots, and for the 35s, then we go to Meska, max 210 knots. And then a right turn to Dep2, or if we can, we're hoping that we can just square it off right from Meska for an ILS. And I don't think I put in the frequencies yet, did I? So let's pull up the ILS chart here. There it is, ILS to runway 35 left in Calgary, 11-5, 20th September 2019, 111.5 and 345. So let's make sure we got those in there. Uh, 111.5 and 111.5. And now for the race. Set course on your side, one. Nope, that's not what I meant to say.
One, set, checked.
Set course on your side, 345. I win.
Course, 3, 4, 5, set.
Alright, we got the inbound course, 345, set both sides. 4820 at Bovix. And the ILSDA will be 3742. That's going to take me a minute to dial that up. So Bovix, 4820, and what did I say, 3742. So let's bring that up here. One thing I do have to say that I'm happy about is that PMDG changed this knob here. Normally it's a hold it to the right kind of hold it right and it'll just slowly accelerate up there, but now they've switched it to a scrolling knob, which is not realistic, but given the input devices most people have in the simulator, it's easier to do the scroll sometimes than to hold the this. Although when you're scrolling, when you're going this far, it's almost easier to do this and just hold the mouse rather than scroll. I'm glad that they kind of give you both options, because when it's a small change, the scroll wheel is a little bit more natural sometimes than trying to left and right click the changes. We're getting there. I'm glad the PMDG kind of looked at it both ways. Alright, we're almost at top of drop here, so we're going to have to set that lower altitude momentarily here. 3742, I think I said. $37.42, was that it? Yes, that was it. So $37.42. Now I'm going to use the scroll wheel because that'll be easier. There we go. And there's the FMC message. I was just thinking about you. Don't worry. What do we have for altitudes here? Let's go ahead and set 11,000 for now anyways. We'll descend on profile. We are in VNAV mode, so we'll descend on profile. Alright, yeah, so there's the minimums. The airport elevation, stop doing that, is 3,500 feet. 3,600 feet, close enough. MSA is highest southwest of the field at 6,100 feet. And the missed approach is climbed to 4,100 feet on a heading of 345. And then a climbing left turn to 7,000, heading 315, intercept the Calgary 297 radial to Rexub, and as required, shuttle climb. So 7,000, so 4,100. Let's just check that this is all in the box here as well, so we can fly it on here. Straight ahead to 4,100, left turn 315, intercept 297 to Rexub, and hold at 7,000. That's all in the box as well. Notes, radar now if required, safe altitude 100 miles, 13,800. Simultaneous approach is authorized with 35 right. Local reliable only 10 degrees of center line, and procedure turns not authorized. It's a normal 3-degree glide slope, poppies on the left, SSALR, and RVR 2600 or a half mile. It's a VMC day. It's a beautiful clear skies day. That shouldn't be an issue. Taxiing in, gate assignment in Calgary here. Let's see. I'm following a real-world flight here. They went to gate Alpha 24, so let's just go and edit the cherry clip one more time. Did this thing start down on its own? It did. Good. It's funny because in the real airplane you would feel that, but in the sim you can't feel it. And if you're just looking over here, you might hear the sound of the engines change a little bit, but the engines aren't that loud in this airplane. It's more air noise. So Alpha 24, it's going to be up, here it is, Alpha 24. So that's the gate we're planning on, Alpha 24. So we'll vacate right and taxi up Charlie to enter the apron here probably. And that's the plan. Terrain, obviously, there's high terrain west of the field. It's got a high sector altitude to the west, so if anything happens and we're unsure where we are, we'll always turn east. Weather is clear skies, light winds, not an issue today. And operational, you know, I didn't actually look to see if there were any NOTAMs, so let's have a quick look here through the flight plan. And just to read and see if there's any NOTAMs in here today. Because that's what a good pilot would do. Calgary, 1120, taxiway whiskey, VFR tours. Runway 826 closed, approach procedures. 35 left RNAV Yankee, so that doesn't affect us, so no NOTAMs. The airplane's fully functional, and fuel, to get to Edmonton we'd need about 5,200. Right now we're showing, let's have a look here, progress page shows us 8.6. We got about 3 tons extra when we get to Calgary, so we definitely could do a go around, come back, and do a couple of extra approaches before we have to head off to our alternate. And that's about it for my briefing. Do you have any questions? Any questions? Descent checklist.
Descent checklist. Pressurization. Landing altitude is 3. feet. Recall checked. Auto brake level 2. Landing data.
Ref 141. Minimums 3742 feet set.
Checked. Approach briefing.
Complete.
Descent checklist complete.
Thank you. Alright. Pity that it's so cloudy. I would love to see the mountains down there. You can see them poking up through some of those clouds there. Pity you don't get a better view than this. It'd be a great, great view this time. But we're going to be doing a lot of flying in and out of Vancouver on this Pilot's Life career now over the next couple of months. So you'll definitely see plenty of these mountains here. I don't even have a sense of where we are here. Let's see if I can find. Have we passed Kelowna yet? I think we passed Kelowna already. Don't have too much along here. Stations. Yeah, I think we passed Abim Kelowna just a little while ago. I don't think we actually have a Kelowna turn on this schedule, but maybe the next one. It's the first leg of this season. It's probably a little bit early to be looking towards next season. My coffee cup here is awfully reflective. I think the track IR sensor keeps catching it there, thinking it's part of my headset. I'll have to pause my headset every time I go to get a sip of coffee from now on. Alright, we're getting there. Got about, let's see here, 25. We had about 25 minutes to touchdown, 24 minutes to touchdown in Calgary, where we'll go to Gate Alpha 24, shut it down for the day, and at least episode 1 of this season will be completed. So after this, it'll be a continuation on east to Winnipeg. I'm going to do my best to try and schedule these streams to get VATSIM ATC at one end or the other, but it's not always possible. I am still working from outside the home, and yeah, unfortunately the work schedule being quite random, unable to predict when things are going to happen, but it just seems to be, seems that I'll be working weekends a lot, so when all the events are is usually when I'm not around, unfortunately. Which is a bit of a shame because I do enjoy getting that good VATSIM ATC on there. One bit of news that I guess was a bit disappointing was, although not entirely surprising, was that Aerosoft announced that they were delaying the arrival of the RJ for Aerosoft to sometime in the first quarter of 2020. They announced it on New Year's Eve, so really it kind of it kind of became obvious that they were delaying to the first quarter of 2021. You know, it sounded like they were trying to have it out in the holiday season, but I feel like they were probably not going to have a very functional aircraft with the way the SDK has been described by everyone else in this business so far. So it's sad, but it's not really all that surprising. We're doing 250 knots. I want to pick this up a little bit more. Let's see if we could do like maybe 290. We got lots of extra fuel, and there's no need to really fly at cost index. Alright. Just getting a little choppy up here. Let's get those seatbelts on. Might as well go a little faster and get there sooner. If I do that, how much does that... that cuts a minute off the flight. It feels like we're doing something though, right? If we're going faster. Feels like I'm making progress here. Give it full power down the hill for a few minutes here. Should have been wary of that cost index 9 right off the bat. No need for a cost index of 9. Not unless you're trying to push the range of your aircraft to its maximum. I know at our company, it's pretty much we have a standard cost index of 25. Every flight is flown at cost index 25 unless there are extenuating circumstances that require something else. And really the only extenuating circumstances they ever have where they require something else is if they're not going to make it, if the range is not going to be high enough at cost index 25, and then they'll drop the cost index down even lower to 10, or even I've flown cost index 0, and cost index 0 can be excruciating sometimes. Cost index 0 is incredibly slow. Now, why is it doing 310 knots? Here comes the path. So I'm hoping as it pitches down to follow the path, yes, now it's going to bring the power back. I think it was just because it was trying to catch the path. It was basically doing a flight level change, and giving it maximum power to get up to the path. Because 310 was a little bit excessive, especially given that it's kind of turbulent now. Brr. One thing I'll say, those mountains look cold. Snow covered and cold right now.
Cabin crew, prepare for landing.
But that is also one thing I'll say about Flight Simulator again that I like, is the snow effects are quite good. They're really very good. I like the snow effects, and the fact that just before Christmas they brought out the update that linked the snow effects to the online weather was great. So you don't have to manually set snow, because I have to say the snow effects look pretty good. The slider, you set a couple of centimeters or a couple of inches of snow, and when you first set the first little bit, it just covers parts of the ground. It doesn't even cover it all universally, it just covers parts of the ground, and then as you get get up to an inch or 2 inches, then it sort of covers everything, but that first inch or so, it's just sort of sporadic, and I really like that. That effect is really well done. There's a lot of things that Asobo has done really well with Microsoft Flight Simulator. There's a lot of things that it has not done well and that need to be improved upon, but there's a lot of really nice stuff. They've done a great job of making a really good-looking sim. And I remember, you know, I was interested, so I watched a lot of the interviews, and they talked about how pretty much most of the staff that went to work on this ended up doing at least some flying lessons, and some of them ended up getting licensed, doing enough flying lessons to get licensed, because they wanted to create a realistic, immersive experience. They wanted to capture that experience of flying, and the best way to do it is to make sure you know what you're talking about. It's pretty hard to create a flight simulator if you know next to nothing about the sensation of flight, the look of flight, how it actually looks and feels. So they did spend a lot of time with the look and feel, and a lot of it looks really good. The environment looks really good. The scenery looks really good. The night flying also looks quite good, better than previous sims in the past. Not great. I find that the more so than during the day, the way the lights are displayed in Microsoft Flight Simulator at night, they're very systematic, consistent from one place to the other. And I realize that is something that's perhaps a little bit harder to do than the satellite data. The satellite data exists for the world in daytime. I don't think too many satellite mapping companies bother to photograph the world at night. Certainly not the level of detail of the Bing Maps satellite view kind of thing. Like, why would you create a night view? All it is going to be is mostly black with a bunch of streetlights. So I understand that everything in the night view pretty much has to be procedurally generated, but I still feel like it is entirely too consistent. Here's transition.
2992 set. Awesome. Altitude 17,400.
It's actually 3022. Yeah, so the one thing I'll note about the night flying is the lights are too consistent from place to place. There needs to be perhaps a little bit more randomness to certain lights missing. Some areas of roads, especially outside the urban areas, oftentimes roads are barely lit, or some sections of roads will be lit and then not others. Like sections around like intersections will be lit for a 100 or a couple hundred feet in either direction, but then the rest of the roads will be dark at night. And that's something that I think is more than anything is missing during the night flying, is that the lights, they're better, and don't get me wrong, that they do look quite good overall and capture a much more realistic feel than ever before, but still too consistent. And with the satellite data, you can the randomness of the real world is there, and all the buildings of the real world are there. Much harder to translate into nighttime because nobody's photographed it. It's all done algorithmically, so I get that. it's an area that still needs work. Overall, like if you're not familiar with an area, and it kind of looks pretty good, but then as you sort of fly it more, you realize like the roads, there's just too much lighting, too many street lights. A lot of country back roads, a lot of country back roads do not have consistent lighting from one end to the other, but they do in Flight Simulator. So that's something that needs to be worked on. But the daytime flying they've really captured a large portion of the spirit of it. And even the snow, I have to say, the snow looks pretty good. It's not totally consistent. There are places I've been to where, especially airport textures, were not consistently applied. Yeah, that's 10,000. Where the airport textures were not consistently applied. Some taxiways were completely clear of snow, while others were partly or fully snow covered, and it was kind of weird that some were not. Maybe they were going for that randomness, but the way it looked at the end, the result was not. What's the word I'm looking for? The result was not all-encompassing. The result was not immersive. That's the word I'm looking for. It kind of broke reality more than fixed it, I think. But again, I think over time, they will tweak these things and they will get better. Alright, we're approaching Calgary here. We're approaching IGVEP, that we're going to be at below 13,000, and actually we could probably set a lower altitude. Let's just go back to our star chart again here. And the altitude at Vezga is 9,000, so let's go ahead and set that 9,000 for Vezga. And because we're through 10,000 feet above the airport, approach checklist. 3022 set.
3022 set. Approach checklist complete.
Check. Alright, and now it's decelerating for the next restriction, which is IGVEP at 230. And then it's going to be Vezga at 220, Mexa at 210. So Vezga 220, Mexa 210. And then, yeah, I think after Mexa we'll just maintain that present heading. So, you seen any good shows on Netflix lately? No? Nothing? Nothing. No, okay. That would be hilarious if FS2 Crew had a few Easter eggs in it. I would love that. I should suggest that to FS2 Crew. Put some Easter eggs in there. Undocumented voice commands that make the FO say all sorts of stuff. So, what do you think of the new union contract? That would be hilarious. Just a few Easter eggs. Undocumented Easter eggs. Ask your FO about this and have it come back with a couple of different random recordings. Just, you know. Some people, you know, one day he might like it, the next day he might complain about it. That would be hilarious. Oh, I gotta suggest that to FS2 Crew, that'd be fun. I don't know how much extra work and space that would create, but just, that would be a fun little Easter egg. To have some random cruise chats that you could talk to the FO. Alright, leaving the foothills, the mountains behind us. Approaching Calgary. Not doing too bad here. I don't think there's too much else going on VATSIM right now. There's one departure to Calgary, and then there's us. That's about it. Not too exciting right now, but anyways, as we get to turn-in final, we'll make a radio call here. Not too much else going on. Oh, and there you go. There are the buildings of Calgary downtown right there, just starting to come into sight. Nice. 230. Now why is it flying? Why is it 1,000 feet above the path? We're at idle. I don't still have the anti-ice on, do I? No, we don't have the anti-ice on. Why is it unable to descend on the path here? Might need a little bit of help. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and switch to level change. We're also supposed to be 220 in the next fix, so let's get some descent going on here. We're going to need those speed brakes out to do this, afraid. Just wasn't going to quite do it on her own. Well, we're going to be a little bit high at Vesca, but we're going to be close. Fortunately, there's no ATC to complain to us, though.
1,000 delivered.
Checked. Alright. MSA all around here is 6,800, so we can keep the descent going. Close the speed brakes. Oops, didn't mean to do that. Let's get the speed back to 210. And let's go down to 7,000. And the altitude's right on there, at or above 6,500 at Gabal, so that should work out just fine. Switch to heading mode now. Heading select. Flaps 1.
Flaps 1. $5,000.
Said that 24 was too small, so we'll do 23 instead.
Are you sure about that?
Nope. Speed 200. Let's get this organized here.
Checked. $1,000 delivered.
345 inbound to Gabal. There. Flaps 5.
Flaps 5.
It's way too far. What am I doing here?
Checked.
Loke, glide slope arm, the heading 010. And we're going to go down to 6,000 feet here for the intercept because we're just very slightly above the glide slope. Flap 10.
Flaps 10.
Localizer's alive.
Localizer alive.
Flaps 15.
Flaps 15.
Gear down.
Gear down.
There's glide slope.
Check.
Speed 160.
Checked.
Calgary traffic, WestJet 135 is on a 8-mile final runway, 35 left. Looks like a snowy day in Calgary. Flaps 30.
Flaps 13.
Landing checklist.
Landing checklist. Engine start switches.
Continuous.
Speed brake.
Armed.
Landing gear.
Down.
Flaps.
Flaps 30, green light.
Landing checklist complete.
Checked. VREF 146 set. She doesn't really want to slow down much more than this, just a tiny bit. .500 feet, stable. Disengaging autopilot. Cleared.
Check.
Landing.
Check.
Set taxi light on.
Taxi light on.
Calgary traffic, west on 406, taxi from Charlie 36.
50.
Correction.
30, 20, 10.
Speed brake up. Reversers normal.
Checked. Stowing the reversers and just roll into the terminal. There's not much other traffic out here today.
.60 knots.
Checked.
Check. Auto brake disarmed.
Checked.
Check.
Calgary traffic, WestJet 135, clear of runway 35 left, taxiing Charlie to the apron.
Check.
Okay to clean up.
Check.
Oh, there goes the other WestJet taxiing out over there.
Master caution. Anti-ice.
Checked. Pretty quiet morning here in Calgary. Maybe next time we'll get at least a little bit of ATC between Calgary and Winnipeg, but nevertheless, Season 5 is underway of A Pilot's Life. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate it, as always. I hope you're enjoying the show, and I hope you always learn something. I always try to teach something every time I come on this network and every time I put together a stream. It gets more challenging as time goes on, because I think I've said and done almost everything at least once. So it's becoming more and more challenging to try and learn new things and teach new things. But I do appreciate you guys watching, and if you ever have questions, want to know something, why things are done a certain way, feel free to ask. If I know the answer, I'll pass along, and if I don't, I'll try to find out. 24 is right over there somewhere. We probably could have taken that turn in there as well. But start the APU yet? No. Start the APU, please.
Starting APU.
There he goes. Oh, actually, this is just right, because I think that's our gate. Because I see the stair truck there, so I think this is our gate right over here. And Tim asks if I'm planning to try Global Flight Ops when it goes live. And you know, that's a great question. It's funny that Global Flight Ops is still not out there. It was one of the first, I think, of the modern iterations of sort of immersive online worlds to come out, and yet, or to be announced, and it's still not out there. I think it was almost 2 years ago now that PMDG first previewed Global Flight Ops, and I was excited about it at the time, and I still am. I think at the end it's going to come down a lot to what does it offer and what does it cost. Thank you. And there's the marshaller, so lights and doors. As with so much else, what's the cost-value equation? I think
Disarm doors and cross-check.
I think there's a lot of great things about Global Flight Ops, a lot of great potential. I haven't seen too many videos of people actually using it even in like the beta mode or anything like that, so I don't know. It was 2.5 years ago? Yeah, it was a long time ago that they originally announced it, and I think it's a great idea. I really think it's something that has a lot of promise. But again, for me personally, it's going to be about how much is it worth? Is it going to? Are we talking like, is it going to be $10 or $12 a month? Is it $1 or $2 a month? I mean, I don't see them going that low necessarily, but you know, anything sub $5 a month would definitely be worth considering. If you're over $10 a month, maybe not so much. But also, what are the feature sets on offer too? I think it's going to come down to, I know some of the things that they want to do is basically they want to have like a worldwide fleet of persistent aircraft that other people get to operate as well. So kind of like FS Economy, but with more detail, where everything you do in the aircraft is recorded and stored and affects the next person that flies that airplane. So yeah, shutdown checklist, right? Guess we should do this. Here comes the bridge. He basically gets everything else. I just have to turn that stuff off. Just wait for this thing to get over here. Yeah, man. There comes the bridge. Go ahead and call for deboarding. Jetway's there, don't worry. Shutdown checklist.
Checklist. Fuel pumps off. Row 8 off. Hydraulic panel set. Flaps. They're still down. Parking brake.
Why are they still down? Set. Set.
Engine start levers.
Cut off.
Weather radar.
Is off. Off.
Off. Shutdown checklist complete.
I love the way the FO is like, well, the flaps are still down. Just think to myself, hey, Mr. FO, wasn't that your job to put them up in the after landing flow? Anyhow. One more thing we got to do here. Cockpit to ground. Cockpit to ground. Cockpit to ground.
Go ahead.
Please connect the GPU.
Roger. Connecting the GPU.
Alright, well, there they go. Tim, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to answer that question anymore, but the answer to your question is no. It's been decided that that's no longer a signal. Yeah, so regarding global flight ops, I haven't decided. Again, I have to see what the feature set is, what the cost is, what's worthwhile. The other thing that's becoming a bit of an issue now, and it's a good... Why are you disconnecting the jet bridge, you stupid... I don't know how these people are going to get off the airplane without jet bridge, but anyways. One of the other things that really, it's becoming a problem, and it's a good problem to have, is the fact that there are so many of these kind of immersive, persistent universe systems now in the flight sim world. Why does he keep retracting the bridge? I don't understand. So between the old classic of FS Economy, there's Air Hauler 2 has been released and is now compatible with Microsoft Flight Simulator. Of course, you've got that on-air system. We've got the SkyPark, and now we've got Global Flight Operations. That's 5 different, online immersive systems, and they all are, they all sort of serve a different niche market. They all kind of have a different kind of general idea behind them. They're all similar in a lot of ways. The trouble is that, especially when you invest in these systems, especially the subscription-based ones, you want to get your money's worth, so you want to fly them regularly. And I feel like you're going to be dividing your time between too many different, products, trying to sort of keep your company afloat in all of them, trying to keep your FBOs and airplanes in FS Economy paid for while you're trying to fly in the SkyPark and while you're trying to maintain operations and global flight operations. So I think it's also going to come down to what do you want to do as a simmer. And probably you're only going to buy into one, maybe at most 2 of these platforms. I don't think too many of us are going to be into all 5 of them at the same time, because they work best when you're in them on a regular basis, when you're flying on a regular basis within that world. If you're only flying each one once a month, you're not going to get a whole lot of benefit out of each one, I think. FS Economy, I think, is a lot of fun when you kind of do it repeatedly and consistently, and you can make a fair bit of money on it and spend money on different things like aircraft and such. I don't know how the other ones are going to work, but I feel like a lot of them really benefit from a lot of attention, repeated attention. So this is one of the other challenges now too, is that there's a lot of them out there all of a sudden. We went from FS Economy and kind of Air Hauler being like the only 2 that were really out there that were in any kind of use, to all of a sudden we got a whole bunch of them. You can kind of choose what you want, and there's a whole bunch of them out there. I wonder if all of them will last. I certainly hope they will. But there's only so much market to go around now. Of course, Microsoft Flight Simulator, that market has grown immensely. How many of those people that are in Microsoft Flight Simulator will be consistently in the sim for the long term? Who knows? So the short answer is I don't know about global flight ops. I want to see what they're going to do with it. I like the idea behind it. I could definitely see myself getting on board with it, but as long as it's not ridiculously expensive either. And I think that PMDG will make a lot more money off being at the cheaper end of the scale. And I think a lot of people have discovered that. We pay a lot for their airplanes to begin with, so I think just running this as an addendum, as a way to promote the airplanes and encourage people to use them more, will be hopefully enough. But I think that's something that the other developers have found, is that the less you charge, the more you sell. And in the past, I think flight sim add-ons, we've gotten used to the price points where they were at, but especially if they want to widen the market and really create a large market for add-ons, the price point had to drop. So I hope the PMDG has gotten that message a little bit as well. I don't think their airplanes will see it, but hopefully their global flight operations will see it. Anyways, that is it, guys. We made it to Calgary. My flight is complete. My next current flight is now going to be Calgary to Winnipeg. I don't know when we're going to get that in. It's going to be a little while, but in the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for the conversation, Tim. I will catch you guys all hopefully out there in the VATSIM network and in a pilot's life real soon. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Have a great day. Stay healthy, and we'll see you all real soon.